Hi, folks. Andrew here. Top Fitness Strategies. Yes, I am the face who runs the place, and we have another interview coming on today. And if this is your first time with us, you know the Top Fitness Strategies. We're all about the fitness over 50 crowd. We like to look better, feel better, gain some confidence. And what I'm doing is interviewing different people in different aspects of the whole fitness and health industry. And they don't have to literally be in the health and fitness industry, but I like to have some criteria going on if they're not. And the guy I have coming on to you, coming on with me today, and I just bring him on right now, Jon Sansone. Hi, John. Welcome.
Awesome.
And what this is all about today is John is, I don't want to say the average regular guy because he's a superstar in his field, but when it comes to health and fitness, he's no different than anybody else in his over 50 years old from everything that he's telling me. So and John, what I like to do is go around right away and tell
Yeah.
how we met, if that's okay, or how we got acquaintance. Because behind the bat cave a little bit here, just the first time John and I actually saw each other on camera, but we corresponded via messenger and email a little bit. We are in the same Facebook group, and I just put out a message the other day saying, "Hey, I'm in this industry. I love to interview folks who are doing something in this industry, basically in the health and fitness world." John writes me, and he says he's in his late 50s. He walks consistently 3 miles every day and maintains good health and nutrition. He eats a low-fat superfood diet. He also makes time for relaxation every day. Without knowing anything else about John, I said, I got to get him on the podcast. And then through that, I find out that he's also a motivational speaker, an author, a master class instructor, and a host of an international comedy podcast. And now he can also say he was a guest on Top Fitness Strategies, even though that may not be something he wants to promote after he's done talking with me. Who knows? So, John, for all that, welcome aboard.
Awesome, Andrew, man. Thanks for having me on. Something I'm passionate about is health.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. So, one of the things I like to do is talk to folks about their industry, and which is usually the health and fitness industry. But you're in the sales industry, so I want to try
Yeah,
to even everything in as we go along here. Also, you're also in the comedy industry. The industry
I am.
you host an international comedy podcast. So right away, people will say, "How in the world does that relate to fitness?" Again, because I think besides being a superstar, like I said earlier, you're just an average guy
I am.
when it comes to health and fitness. You're not some um, um, guy who pumps iron 24 hours a day or runs marathons every day or something like that. Am I correct with that?
That is very correct. Like I take the path of least resistance. I've read a lot about metabolism and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
and and I realize that based upon the type of work that I've been doing for 34 years, I live a very sedentary lifestyle. So fitness was going to be super important if I was going to have a good quality of life.
Okay. All right. And because we're going to talk about that in a second. And also, I want to promote, make sure we say this. To find John, go to saleswarriorinspire.com. And we'll get more into that in just a little bit, but I want to make sure I throw that out there. All right.
Absolutely.
Because of your sales background, what caused you to say, you know what, I need to be healthier, I need to be fitter? What gave you the inspiration to change, I guess, your and this is my word, sitting in front of the computer at your sales desk all day to getting out and walking the 3 miles? What brought that on, or was there a thing that actually brought it on?
Sure. Well, when I did outside sales, I don't currently do outside sales, but when I did outside sales for years, an incredible amount of stress. And so what do you do when you have an incredible amount of stress? You either exercise or you drink a lot. And I'm not saying I'm not a drinker, but I'm saying I've always like made room for exercise. So like I might get off the road either from flying in somewhere or driving in from somewhere, get to my hotel, and if they didn't have a suitable workout facility at the hotel, I might just walk the stairs or go up and down the stairs 20 flights or whatever it is with my tennis shoes on before I went to dinner that night. And so like fitness and health and being ahead of that has like always been on the forefront of my mind. And I think one of the reasons that is, Andrew, is I had my dad and brother die at really young ages. Both my dad and my brother died at really young ages. So I didn't know if I was going to be susceptible to a short life.
That makes sense. Because I have a heart disease that runs in my family as well, both sides, my mother and my father. So I'm always, I don't want to say I was always been into health and fitness, because there's a time blah, blah, blah. And I'm not going to get into my story. People's heard it and they're bored about that. So when you started your sales business, you said 34 years ago? Is that what you said?
Yeah, 34 years ago, pretty much right out of, so initially I was a professional purchaser. So I was working for a company as a professional purchaser. And about a year into it, it just became very evident to me that I didn't like being a professional purchaser. And I was working with salespeople. And I wanted to be on the other side of the desk, because I noticed like the salespeople drove a better car than me.
Okay, so wait, I got to ask, first of all, what is a professional purchaser?
Oh, so like an example would be, I worked for an ad agency. So an ad agency hires somebody to meet with the media representatives, the radio stations, the magazines, the television stations, and we're going to do, like, say, a TV campaign, and we're going to run it. And the different TV stations are going to basically propose that we buy X amount of time at these slots. We tell them what our budget is, and then all the media come to us with the statistical information about what their stations are delivering. We look at our budget, and the professional purchaser decides who gets what. Like, out of all these proposals, where we spending our money, and it's all about, how much breadth and depth of audience you can get, and is that audience in your demographic? And so it's like, shuffling. You have X amount of dollars. Obviously, you want to buy the media that has the biggest audience, but they're going to be the most expensive. And so you got to kind of play and massage with the numbers to get the most efficient buy. But I got a chance while I was working for this company to bring on some new customers. And when I brought on the new customers, I got no added compensation.
What? Say that.
Like, you get to keep your job. Thank you. We're glad you brought on the new customers. You get to keep your job. We really appreciate you. Now go get us some more customers. And I'm like, oh, this is not working out. I was right out of college. What's that?
And your pay remained the same. You didn't get an increase.
My pay was low and slow. And I'm like, I cannot deal with this. I don't know what I'm going to sell. But brings up a good point. And anytime you have a goal, whether it be fitness or career, really good to get out a piece of paper and be real succinct and detailed about what you want out of life, and go for it. Like with my fitness goals, I have a fitness goal every day to walk 3 miles every day. Regardless, I walk 3 miles. I don't care if it's raining, snowing, I'm walking 3 miles. Sometimes it's walking up and down the stairs at my house, because I'm in a 2-story house. And 2, I don't have a huge weightlifting goal, but most days I lift weights. And I don't do a crazy amount of it. Like I said, it's the path of least resistance. I do just enough to get benefit from it.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And 2, I know it's good. Like, you can't just do cardio. You have to lift weights. Because you build up more muscle mass. If you build up more muscle mass, you can eat more, and your metabolism tends to do better. Just like I have a goal of drinking so much water every day.
You are spot on. That's exactly what I preach to to my followers, to my listeners, to my watchers. You don't have to, like, my thing is, you don't have to bench press a Buick. Back in high school and college when we were athletes, I don't know if you were, but I was an athlete back in the
You look like you would have been an athlete. I was an athlete wannabe.
But the thing is, in high school and college, I was a scrawny little runt. Yeah, I didn't lift weights, didn't even touch a weight until I got into the college a little bit. Played baseball a couple of years, and that was enough. I wasn't good enough to play, but in my mind, I thought I was, but I didn't have the ability. And I realized that after I quit playing. I said, that was the dream that was never going to happen. I can sit the bench with the best of them, but I didn't like sitting the bench. So after college is when I started pumping the iron, lifting the weights. And when you work out with your buddies, at a local gym. The thing is bench press. I want to see if I can out bench press you.
Right.
And when you're that age, mid-20s, your arms go from nothing to all of a sudden you get muscles out to here. I mean, you're like a
Yep.
couple arms in no time. And I'm proud to say I've never had any kind of foreign substance, never any kind of roids or juiced up or anything.
Man, that's awesome.
I beefed up and pumped up like you wouldn't believe. And I had the backs, your back come up to a V and your back was out to there and your arms were huge. And then life got in the way and what it might like to say, your chest went down to your drawers. You got the furniture disease. So one of those kind of things. And so over the years, like you just said, you lift weights just to gain a little bit of muscle, to tone up a bit. Or I'm no longer a believer in a 2 or 3 hour workouts. I'm just not in that place. And most year-old plus that I talk to are like that. And it seems, and although I know I'm rambling here, but it seems that that same mindset as I am. You're not going to spend the 3 hours in the gym. You're just doing something to be healthy and healthier and fitter. Is that?
Yeah. If my numbers were bad, I'd spend more time in the gym, but I just did my numbers with my doctor and he was super happy with my numbers. If he's happy with my numbers, I'm happy with my numbers.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I'm a huge reader too, Andrew. So last year's example, I read 14 books. I don't know a lot of people that will read 14 books. This year, I haven't really read that many books, but I think it's because I've just been power watching a lot of things on Amazon Prime.
Okay. Now, which brings up a whole other question. When you say you like reading books, are you talking health and fitness type books, sales books, motivational books? What kind of books you do?
Yeah. So biographies, I love biographies, and I'll get stuck on a subject, but then the analytical side of me wants to know everything about the one subject.
Okay.
And I don't know why, but an example would be during COVID, I read a book on Marilyn Monroe and I felt like it was kind of one-sided. So then I read 4 other ones on Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, wow.
One time I read a book on the OJ trial, and then I read 4 more books on the OJ trial written by other people that were highly involved in it. And now I walk away with a huge understanding of what went on.
Oh,
and,
wow.
and that's what I like. I feel like when you have a huge understanding in different subject areas, it makes you wise and insightful.
Interesting. Oh, yeah. But you're 100% right. And most people will agree with you. And I would say most of the people don't read books either.
I know. I love to read. I don't know what it is, but I find it to be the most relaxing thing I can do. I think my business world is fast paced. I have people that work for me that book appointments for me all day long. Mm-hmm. So many times I'm in appointments, 20 appointments, 24 appointments a week.
Oh,
each
wow.
one lasting about an hour. So I have a very regimented life that way. And I kind of like it and don't like it.
And that brings up a whole other question.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're a busy guy. You do the saleswarriorinspired.com. You have training classes. You have clients. How do you find the time to work out? I mean, to walk your 3 miles? Because I'm assuming walking 3 miles is going to be 35, 40-ish minutes.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I take a lunch early. Every day I'm on a central time zone. I take an 11 o'clock lunch.
Okay.
My people know I'm taking 11 o'clock lunch. For the first 30 minutes, I'm walking.
Okay.
Before I eat. That's typically how I spend my lunch. And then I eat for 30 minutes. And I'm kind of in a profession where I can sometimes do paperwork for half an hour or maybe, many times I can do an hour and a half lunch.
Okay. So you walk at your lunch hour. You don't wait till the evenings or first thing in the morning. You do it throughout the day.
And I'll be walking tonight too, because I didn't get in full 3 miles today at lunch. So I'll be walking tonight as well with my dogs. Okay. So I can't say it too loud. They'll get excited.
It's funny you brought that up about the dogs.
But that's how I get it in.
Oh yeah, I have a great friend of mine who's also a trainer, and she coined this a long time ago, and I live by this phrase, and it's great. She says, if you have a fat dog, you're not getting enough exercise.
I like it. I
love that phrase. And sorry if people are offended because I said the F word, but hey, That's life. You can't walk around being offended by every little word you hear out there. At least I believe that. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm fascinated by the transition from the purchaser to the sales, and then also when the workout thing. And I
Yeah.
know I'm going back to that because this is a fitness podcast.
Well, and it also has to do with like, how do you manage mental fatigue? Because in sales, you get mental fatigue,
Oh yes,
not
yeah,
physical
absolutely.
fatigue, mental fatigue. You get a lot of like rejection. I mean, I don't get as much rejection as I used to do because I have ways to filter that out. But
Hmm.
but you get a lot of like, it's just a very busy work life where lots of, you're spinning plates
Yeah,
pretty much
yeah.
all day long. And it's very stressful, but if you reframe these things in your mind, you can handle the stress. Like many people that are younger than me,
Hmm.
because like I'm in my late 50s, many people that are younger than me, God, I just did a sales training for the whole group today, and they seem like the most stressed out people I've ever seen. I'm like, you people, some of you people are 20 years younger than me. And like, you look depressed, like, oh my God. It's just so funny to me. Like, and like I come from the school of hard knocks, Andrew. So like I have worked hard jobs. So I realize, like I say, like in sales, you get mental fatigue, but
Hmm.
like I worked in a factory where you got physically fatigued
Oh
and it
yeah,
was dangerous. Like
been
I
there.
worked in a factory where you could maim yourself with caustic chemicals that you could get all over your hands
Hmm.
and be deformed the rest of your life, or get it in your eyes or whatever. Or, you went up a rickety elevator to put a load up on the 8th floor and you're just hoping that like you didn't get killed taking it up there and coming back down because it was just you. It
We must
wasn't
have
like
worked
it
in the
was you.
same place. I've experienced the same
Okay,
thing.
so you get it. Yeah,
I
it's
get
like
it,
the
absolutely.
Sylvester Stallone world of hard knocks. Working in a meat plant. I didn't work in a meat plant, but I worked in a chemical factory that was dangerous. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
every step of the way, it was dangerous.
Oh,
So
absolutely. That's a whole other podcast. I'm sure you and I can tell more
it
about that
is,
one. But
but that's why I say like in sales, you get mental fatigue. Like
you
I
made
don't get
something
physical
about this
fatigue.
mental fatigue, and I want to hit on this because I
Yeah.
don't think too many people understand this. You and I are about the same age. I just turned 56.
Okay.
Yes, I put that out there. So
Okay.
we
Cool.
come from our working life, if you will, back before there was internet,
Oh
and you
yeah.
had a phone and you had to go knock on doors. Nowadays, I'm going to assume, and you know more about this than I do with the
Mhm.
sales, most of the younger kids, the younger, I'm talking maybe 30s, 35, who's always had the internet, think their sales is emails, computers, texting all the time. They're not knocking on doors like we used to.
Right.
Is that fair to say?
That's what I love about the internet.
Mhm.
Because that's why the rejection's not that bad. Because if they don't respond to the email after 2 times, I move on. And and what I find is the people that talk to me want to do business, which is perfect for me because at this age, I don't want to waste my time or their time.
I
More
agree.
importantly, my time.
But my whole point is I was saying all that is
Yeah,
going back to the mental fatigue, because the mental aspect is, yeah, you're glued to a computer now all the time, waiting or looking or researching that way, so you're not
yeah,
getting the physical aspect of things, of the going knocking on doors, so to speak. You're knocking on doors
that's
now.
true. Yeah, that's
So
true.
because of that, the younger, quote unquote, younger guys aren't physically as active as we used to be in the industry. So therefore, it's even, I don't want to say more beneficial. It's even more crucial that they actually do some sort of physical activity. Am I missing something here? Because the
No,
physical activity,
I mean
won't
that's
that
how
help
you
with their
manage
sales?
stress. I mean, you manage stress and mental fatigue by being physical. There's only a few ways to manage mental stress. One is drinking and drugs,
Hmm.
and the other is physical activity. And I'm not saying I don't drink, but I don't drink in excess. And two, like as a person, if you want to manage, you know, business stress, one of the best ways to manage business stress is to be interested in more things than yourself. like my wife and I are personally involved in 3 charities in Dallas, Fort Worth. One
Okay.
of them I think I have here from, because I went to this charity event last night. It helps the veterans. My wife's involved with a breast cancer charity.
Okay.
And then we're also both involved with a Dallas Children's Charities.
Oh, wow.
So we are actively involved in 3 charities. And with being actively involved in 3 charities, you tend to have more friends and more fun events to go to, because charities are all about the fun events that raise money.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And around here in my area, I'm part of the Lions Club. I don't know if you've heard of
Oh,
Lions
cool.
Club.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the Lions Club.
Yeah, we're a service organization. So
Yeah.
we say charities, we do a lot of service for the community. So yeah, we're constantly out doing stuff
Nice.
and helping out. So that may be a stress reliever, but sometimes it brings on extra stress as well. So,
Oh, it does. Yeah.
but that's a whole other stress because it's all volunteer work. So it's a whole
Right.
different thing. So, all right. Also,
Yeah,
you're in another industry, the comedy industry.
I
Now,
am.
I have talked with several stand-up comics. I don't know if that's the same kind of comedy that you do, but these stand-up
Mhm.
comics. Matter of fact, I talked with one a couple of months ago, Dobie, and
Uh-huh.
he was saying that he would go do his comedy, then go back to the hotel, and then sit there till the next night, do nothing, and go comedy, do and so on and so forth, repeat, rinse, repeat. And he was
Okay.
getting way out of shape, and like yourself, he started walking 10,000 steps a day.
Good
Started
for him.
every day, 10,000 steps, regardless. He said even if
I
he had to
like
go
it.
to the local Walmart and just walk around the perimeter, he would
I
do.
used to do that.
Yeah.
Like if I had an inferior hotel, because that happens when you're on the road.
Mhm.
Most towns have a Walmart, and so it served a couple of purposes. One, I could see everything that's the latest and greatest in the Walmart, and people watch. You're from out of town, so you get it. You kind of get some observations about like what's going on in this town,
Mhm.
and then 2, it was great exercise.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so like I said, he was doing 10,000 steps a day, and then you're doing 3 miles a day. And I don't know the correlation with miles and steps. I guess it's everybody's stride.
Well, so 6,000 steps on my pedometer is 3 miles.
Okay. All right. There
And,
you
and,
go,
and
folks. Yeah. So these folks that do the 30-day challenge, I want to do 10,000 steps a day. So they're walking in excess of 3 miles.
yeah, depending on their stride.
Yeah.
I mean, on the weekends, I'll do more than 3 miles. I'll sometimes get to 8,000, sometimes 10,000 steps. What's wild is anytime I go to an outdoor concert, I look at my pedometer, 10,000 steps. I always finish off
Wow.
10,000 steps. And I guess it's from walking back and forth to get beer and use the bathroom. I don't know.
There you go. And
That's an example of my comedy.
I like that you say that because right away, and I get this all the time when I tell folks that I run top fitness strategies on the internet and I interview the health and fitness experts from around the world. They
Yeah.
say that, and then I say that I occasionally drink. I mean, I have a podcast, a second podcast called Popcorn and Whiskey. Matter of fact, they
I
uh,
like it.
they,
I
they
might
say
have to attend that one.
they say you drink. I'm like, yeah, I drink. I mean, I'm not the guy that I don't show off my body on stage. Put it that way. I just want to live
Right.
a fit and healthy lifestyle. That does not mean I can't drink. Crying out
Right.
loud. I'm Italian. You're Italian. If you don't drink, you get kicked out of the Catholic Church for
Hey,
crying out loud.
I know. I got a bottle of French wine right now downstairs that I'm
There
thinking
you
about
go.
drinking tonight.
And I know some people that actually make their own stuff. I'm not going to say who, but I do. But
Yeah, yeah, nothing wrong with that.
nothing wrong with that. So, all right. And I also wanted to make sure that I respect your time. I said a half hour of your time, or you have a
Yeah,
few
yeah,
minutes
yeah.
to go. I want you to talk to me about your Sales Warrior Inspire, the .com, the website.
Okay,
Also, you have a book on there. And I
I do.
also, if you don't mind, and if this is
Yeah.
possible, how do you when you teach your sales training,
Uh-huh.
how do you implement the importance of being a little bit active, a little bit of physicality, a little bit of nutrition? How do you merge all that together? I'm assuming you do.
I do, yeah. So I got a chapter in there where I talk about like, physical fitness and the vessel, and also let them know that, hey, I'm no expert in physical fitness. I
Mhm.
pursue physical fitness, but really like anything in this world, go to a mechanic, go to somebody like you who is a physical fitness guru. Don't take physical fitness strategies from a sales guru. Unless you're just trying to buy a whole bunch of vitamins, because I'll sell them to you. But that,
You
I should. I know. So, but that's I'm a big proponent in the whole body. Like, you cannot be successful long term if the vessel is not being nourished, and it's got to be nourished mentally, physically, and emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if people have a goal to lose 10 pounds, they should have a goal to make 2 new friends, and correlate that into losing 10 more pounds. Maybe the new friend you make has the same goal to lose 10 more pounds. And now you're broadening your scope of life, and you have more friends now, and life is short. That's one thing I teach in my motivational business, is life is short, and makes it, when you start thinking about it that way, it really gives you leverage to do what you need to do to live a longer life.
Mm.
So I speak two parts of my mantra, Andrew, are life is short and life's for living. And so how are you going to like go on that cruise and enjoy that cruise if, you're out of shape? How are you
Absolutely.
going to, climb those ruins on that island if you're out of shape?
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to pick up that grandchild and go fishing with that grandchild if you're out of shape and you're breathing so heavy? I was a Boy Scout leader for 7 years and took a lot of people to the mountains with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd get some of those parents there, and God, I would just sit there, and I'm logically minded. I would just be looking around for where the first aid tent is. And I'm not being funny. I'm being logical. I'm like, what if this guy like strokes out? I mean, I got to make sure I know exactly where the first aid pavilion is on this camp, so that like I can make sure they don't die on my watch. And we had this kid on one of our campouts who literally went into convulsions. Like, he was in a household where he was allowed to eat tons of sweets. He came on a camp out with us where he just bought a ton of sweets. He oversugared up, and he literally went into like, I don't know exactly the medical term, but his eyes peeled back. And I mean, he was wow. Like, we had to call an ambulance. We were all in a convoy going from one city to the next for the camp out. And I think we were coming back from the camp out. This kid went into convulsions. The other leader pulled over. We called on the cell phone. We brought an ambulance. He had to be ambulanced to a hospital.
Oh my God.
You don't want that to be your kid. Like,
kid. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's another example of like why I see health as such a big deal. Cause like, that never happened to any of my kids. And, and when my kids were younger,
it didn't happen. When we were kids, it didn't happen much at all.
Oh, no.
Maybe it did. We just didn't know about it, but I don't recall it at all.
I honestly didn't know what the term diabetes meant until I hit about maybe age 40.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I would hear about somebody being diabetic. And then once upon a time, I was pre-diabetic, and my doctor was really watching my sugars and everything. So I kind of like, got on the target of, hey, I need to watch my sugar, my intake or whatever. And more importantly, I needed to exercise. Like, I was too sedentary. I needed to exercise. And I've had some good doctors, and they've sat me aside, and they're like, hey, Jon, medical care is expensive. Like, as you're hitting 30, you're hitting 40, it's not going to get any better. Medical care is just going to get more and more expensive. The best thing you can do to control those costs is get in shape. So I've had really good doctors that have kind of helped me, along those ways too. So I've really, appreciated that.
It's great that you mentioned that, exercise. And I tell people all the time, and this is one of my mantras, is just go and move. You don't have to get, like I said, a 3-hour workout in at a gym. If you need to just go walking, great. If you need to pick up some soup cans and do some stuff with that, you don't have to be, Mr. America. You don't have to be the James Bond coming out of the ocean. I mean, we all want 6-pack abs, of course.
Right.
it's hard to do, folks. It's hard to keep and hard to maintain. So work on just moving, doing something that gets you up from the computer, get you up off the couch, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And
you get a free drug too, Andrew, when you work out, right? You get endorphins. That's like a free gift from God. I mean, I remember the first time endorphins were really cranking for me. I think I was playing basketball when I was in grade school, and I'm like huffing and puffing, full court press. We're running. I'm running back and forth, trying to protect the zone. And I'm like elated. I'm like, man, I could do this all day. I don't know where this energy is coming from. Man, I could do this all day.
Absolutely. You mentioned basketball. I got to tell you this funny story. I was never, basketball on me is, and I grew up in the state of Indiana, so you'd think we all play basketball. No.
Oh yeah, the Hoosiers.
I wasn't the kid who got picked last. I was the kid who one team says you can have him. That's how I was.
Oh, okay, all right.
I get to the last bit. You can have him. No, okay, thanks. Yeah, one of those kind of
right.
All right, John, we got about 30 minutes are up here. Go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. So people want to hear more about me. So my name's Jon Sansone, or John the Sales Warrior Sansone. So easy to connect with me, so you can get future, information from me about life and enjoying life. And if that's being more successful in business or just being more successful in life. I mean, you learn sales skills, and what you'll find is that like you'll get to go to restaurants that you might not have ever, your significant other might not have wanted to go to before. But if you learn some real good skill sets, you can go to restaurants maybe you've never gone to, better vacations than you've gone on before. So it can really open up the world to you. It doesn't have to be just about profit. But with that said, Jon Jon Sales Warrior out on LinkedIn. I can't have enough people link up with me on LinkedIn. Love to have you. Got a lot of free material I put out there. And of course, my podcast is Jon Sales Warrior. That's my podcast. It's out on YouTube. The name of my podcast is Schools Out 80s Comedy Storytime. But the best way to get out to my podcast is Jon Sales Warrior, because for whatever reason, Alice Cooper has the monopoly on Schools Out.
Oh, that's great. And folks, don't worry. I'll have everything linked in the show notes, so you can always find John. And if by chance you can't click a link or don't know how to get to him, you can always message me and I'll get a message to John. Not a problem there. So hopefully you get hooked up with John in some way, shape, or form, whether it be with sales, comedy, motivation, and now with a little bit of health and fitness stuff going on. Man, reach out to him. He's a great guy. Obviously, him and I have a lot in common, not just in the sales, the fitness stuff, but our backgrounds are similar. He's more successful in sales than I was, that's for certain, even though we both in sales. But hey, it looks like we made a good connection here, and I appreciate you being on here, John. So
absolutely, Andrew. Let me. Can I give my my special for today for the people listening is going to be that with my course, and my course is typically $400. That's what the starting price of it was.
Okay, and
it's a 3-day boot camp, 30 hours of material with workbooks, audio, video, the whole 9 yards.
Wow,
$99. So 99 bones.
Wow.
I'll give you my book that's on Amazon for free. Currently, it's a 5-star rating. All the 5 stars that have gone on are people that are in sales. So the people giving my book a thumbs up are professional salespeople like myself. And monthly, if you hook up with me, I'll give you free material similar to like what's going on right now with Andrew and I, where hopefully you get some inspiration in life. Because, if you don't get enough emotional gas in the tank, it's hard to go the extra mile.
Absolutely. 100% agree with that. So once again, folks, everything that he just discussed, that he said, is going to be in the show notes. And was it saleswarriorinspire.com and Jon Sales Warrior? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, you are. So my LinkedIn is just Jon Jon Sales Warrior. My YouTube channel is Jon Jon Sales Warrior. I made it as easy as possible to find me, because why make it hard?
That's fantastic. All right. So folks, thanks for being here, John. I hope people got a lot out of this, because I know I did. We had a great time here. And again, top fitness strategies, that's my stuff. as you know, being here, Top Fitness Strategies. I am the face who runs the place. TopFitnessStrategies.com. I have all kinds of stuff over there for you in the fitness and health world, not in the sales world. So there you go. So, all right.
No, man, you got to have fitness.
That's right. Jon, thanks for being my guest today. And hopefully we can do this in the future. And I'm looking forward to reading your stuff and listening to your stuff. So
Awesome.
there you go, folks. So until next time, this is Andrew and Jon. Ciao.